Is Teoscar Hernández back? Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, welcome back to All Things Dodgers. My name is Alan Maurice, and after a 2-home run performance last night against the Rockies, people are saying that Teoscar Hernández is back to his all-star level caliber. What do I think? Well, first, we have to discuss what's gone wrong so far in this season. We know he got started with a hot start to this season. Lots of RBI situations that he came through in, but then he got injured. And that was around early May. So since he came back from his injury, we've seen a lot of chase outside the zone. We've seen a lot of strikeouts in big situations, and a lot of ground balls that killed rallies. Lots of double plays. So right away, in my investigation of what's going on, I looked at strikeouts. Is he striking out more than he did last season? Well, not really. His strikeout percentage in 2024 was at 28.8%, and since July 1st, he's at a similar clip, 28.1%. So if he's not striking out at a higher rate, maybe it's the pitches he's choosing to swing at that are causing the issues. Well, right away, a number that pointed itself out to me was O contact percentage. That's the amount of contact he makes with pitches that are outside of the zone. Now, last year, that number was at 42.2%, but since his injury this year, that number is now at 37.8%. But does that mean that he's swinging at pitches outside of the zone at a higher rate than last year? No, actually. That clip is around the same as last year, and same with the percentage of how often he swings at pitches inside the zone. So if he's not striking out more per se, maybe it just feels like it because it's happening in big spots, or maybe because overall over the course of the season, he's not making as much damage. And one of the telltale signs of that is the rate of ground balls he has hit this season. Let's take a look at some of his batted ball percentages to see how they have translated from one year to the next. 2024, his first year with the Dodgers, his line drive percentage was at 16.9, and that has dipped to 15.4%. Not a huge dip, but it definitely shows that he's hitting the ball a little less firmly than he was last year. Here's the kicker. Ground ball percentage was at 46.5% last year, and that has increased by almost 3% to around 50% here in 2025. And then we can see here the fly ball percentage as well has decreased. So those ground balls, which are often hit to the left side, many times lead to a double play if there's a runner on base. We know Teo is not the fastest guy out there, but that has happened in a lot of big spots and has killed some of those rallies for the Dodgers. Now, some of those ground balls he might be rolling over because he is trying to swing at those outside of the zone pitches. Here is a graph that has 3 different lines, and we can walk through this together. For now, we're going to focus on the yellow line. That stands for the O contact percentage we talked about earlier, so how often he's making contact with pitches outside of the zone. We can see early on in the season, all the way to the left of that graph, that percentage was high. He was swinging at outside pitches, and he was actually making contact with them. What was the result? Well, you can see the blue line, that's the ground ball percentage. It was pretty low. He was hitting it on the line, he was hitting it the other way. How do we know he was hitting it the other way? Because we can see the red line. That stands for opposite field percentage. How often the ball he puts in play is hit to the opposite field. So those outside pitches, he's hitting it where they're pitched. He's going opposite field. He's getting it in the air. He's hitting it on a line. But then he got injured. And you can see there was some flux in these numbers. And let's go to around the 80-game mark. At that point, you see the yellow line, how often he's making contact with those outside pitches. That started to decline. He had the injury, he was recovering, and then it slowly started to incline again. But was it solid contact he was making with those pitches? No, it wasn't. You can see that the ground ball percentage, the blue line, that's the highest it's been this season, when he was starting to increase in contact with those outside of the zone pitches after the injury. And so those ground ball percentages, They're hit to the left side. Were they firmly hit to the opposite field? No. That's when the opposite field percentage was lowest for Teoscar Hernández this year. So since then, those numbers have kind of leveled off. Teoscar is improving. But what does this graph teach us? Well, it helps us to put into perspective all these stats and think about what Teoscar needs to continue to do and also fix up so that he can really return to that all-star level caliber of a player that we know he is. What's the first one? First one has to be stop chasing pitches outside of the zone. We saw a little bit of that last night against the Rockies. He spat on a couple pitches that were breaking balls, trying to entice him to swing outside the zone. He didn't swing, he chose the one in the zone, and he hit it out for a home run. We need more of that from Teo. Now, number 2, if a pitch is thrown on the outside of the plate or even beyond it, hit it where it's pitched. Go back to hitting those pitches to the opposite field with authority and on a line. Don't roll over. Don't get into those ground balls that lead into double plays where the Dodgers don't score runs. Hit it where it's pitched with authority. And then 3, Teo's got to elevate the ball. Last year in 2024, the launch angle, so the angle the ball takes after leaving his bat, in 2024, that launch angle was at 10.2. A year later, since his injury, that launch angle was at 7.7. Teoscar, he is a power hitter. That's what he is known for. Let that power play. Hit it in the air, hit it with authority. These 3 things will help Teoscar become the player in that middle part of the lineup that Betts talked about yesterday. Mookie Betts, star shortstop for the Dodgers, said, "We do our thing up there," talking about the top 3 or 4 in the lineup, but it's really those guys, the ones in the middle, the Edmonds, the Muncies, the Teoscar Hernández. It's really those guys that kind of carry us. So with Muncy and Edmond both coming back from injury, Teoscar Hernández, there are a lot of eyes on him to see if he can be the guy that he was last year as the Dodgers make another, hopefully deep, postseason run. What do you guys think? Is Teoscar Hernández back? Let me know down below. Thank you also for sticking with me. This was a little bit of a deeper statistical side of baseball video, but that's what I love. And so if you want me to continue making videos like this one, let me know. Please subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, click the notifications bell as well if you want me to continue making videos like this one. Thank you so much for your support, everyone. Go Dodgers, go Teo, and I will see you on the next episode of All Things Dodgers.